it out as we start off in the bottom left-hand side. Man, it's been a long time since I've introduced someone from Root Gaming. A Blue Protoss, KingCobra. It's been a hot minute since I saw that logo.
In the top right, we have Team Liquid SKillous. That's true. Root used to be a dominant team. Like, everyone was on Root. And dominant in terms of, like, the number of players, I suppose. I don't know if they ever really dominated as a team in any team leagues that I can really remember. But I know they were a threat because they had so many players. And they did pick up a lot of very good players. I think for a long time, though, Root was known as the initiation team. Yeah. Where if Root picked someone up, you knew that they were probably going to go on to do really good things.
Such a really good way of putting it. They have had good rosters at points, and they've always had very deep rosters in terms of like just having so many different players taking part, and very community-based team, I suppose. But yeah, obviously just kind of at points. I mean, they had Hero on the team, right? So obviously Kelazzo was on Root for a long time when he was really good. Not that he's not really good now, but like even in his peak. Estrella at one point? Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah, I think so.
Even a StarCraft pro, if you've not been on Root at this point.
Are you even? Well, they did disband for 2 years, right? And then Cats brought it back.
That's true.
I think this is the case. I mean, 13 years of StarCraft history is, and to be honest, like for me, I don't know about you, as we watch this is actually a normal PvP for what KingCobra is doing, by the way. And SKillous is probably just assuming there's not even going to be a double gateway to get Adept, so he doesn't even bother walling. But anyways, what was I talking about? Root. And then, I don't know about you, but the time of like my memory for StarCraft is basically I have a lot of memory about the initial days because they were just so wacky and fun.
Yeah.
The Heart of the Swarm literally blurs together for me. There's way too much casting of Swarm host shenanigans to freaking keep count of that. And then Legacy of the Void is basically where we're at now, has been the place we've been at for years, you know? I kind of forget that there was the Adept phase and the... Yeah, literally that's it. Like, so that's what phase? I mean. It's like... Was there a Hellbat phase in Legacy of the Void?
Do we not... Okay, now I don't even know if I was... That's probably Heart of the Swarm. What did happen?
That was Heart of the Swarm.
Oh no! You know what it was in the start? It was like Ultras were insane. On Dusk Towers, we had like Ultras versus Liberators, and it was Lurkers as well, were very popular at first, versus like Mass Phoenix. That was the very start of Legacy.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're right. Because that's when Bjorn came back too. It was Legacy of the Void, and he was like the only Terran that was tearing down Zergs. Dang. Yeah. But this is what I'm talking about. It's just like 2023 has existed for 6 years, right? Like
yeah, honestly, like it's ridiculous to think we're like 8 years deep on Legacy of the Void sometimes. Like that is really something. KingCobra, super fast expansion, by the way. SKillous, later expansion, is going to put some pressure on right now with his first units. There's a battery. There is a sentry to potentially force field if we feel the need. And we've got 2 Adepts to try and back this up for SKillous. We'll see if he can break through.
So when I said that this is kind of normal, I really did mean it, guys. I know this looks abnormal, but for these 2 players, for anyone facing KingCobra who knows KingCobra, this is very much usual. Well, the Adept's getting into the main base. It's just a straight up mistake, of course. Definitely not intentional. And it is going to get some big damage done, too. At least 6 probes by the looks of it. 7 if it's timed up. Oh, yep, yeah. Wasn't done yet, so now, yep, 7. But KingCobra goes very defensive, 1 gate expand into Robo, and then eventually adds on a Stargate, and then he gets up to his capital ships, right? SKillous usually tries to poke and prod as much as you can without dedicating, but then gets to 3 or 4 bases, and like I said, whittles away at KingCobra. It's rather played out, actually. So as much as I really love that KingCobra is trying to do something different, and I think he does scare worse Protoss, I don't think he scares SKillous much at all.
SKillous is clearly very prepared for it. Everything about what he's doing is just very aware of what's going on, from, you know, not walling off properly to, you know, there's a little bit of harass. At first the Adepts do well, now the Oracles do very well. There's a lot of probes going down early for KingCobra, and that makes it so much more difficult to potentially get to that scarier part of the game you were talking about him wanting to get to. Nice idea with this single Oracle turn back around while it had HP, but there was a battery, so 7 probes. Still pretty nice. You add that onto the 7 probes from earlier, and you're down 14 workers so early on in this game. SKillous heading into Blink and pretty much feeling amazing about the start.
Down 14 workers?
He lost 14 workers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's
I was
down,
like,
down
Math is not my strong suit.
39, 31. You carry the 8. -1 times 2. Yeah, 14. Sounds good.
Yeah. But yeah, SKillous is playing this out exactly. It's so practice is the problem. I think KingCobra, besides, he does do occasional cannon rushes, or maybe I'm thinking of his PVZ. Maybe is the problem. But aside from that, I feel like I don't see very much different from him. He's kind of like, Max Pack tries to do the same build a lot, and he seems to be perfecting it, like his 4-gate and PVT. Kind of feels like KingCobra is also just like, no, I can prove it. I can prove that this is actually like the best thing you can ever do. And he's, well, not proven it yet.
It's still to come.
Yeah, he might get there eventually. He might get the secret ingredient to really make this always work out, but so far it feels like the other Protoss players have the secret ingredient to defeat KingCobra.
Yeah, this feels rough. Obviously, you take so much damage early, and now SKillous just sets up a proxy gateway. He realizes as Blink finishes, he might not end the game, but he can do serious damage, and there's no way this third base of KingCobra should be setting up here at all. So, love what SKillous is doing, identifying his advantage, playing it. Again, not overly committed, right? It's like, it's a gateway, sure, but these Stalkers can pretty much always get out. There's a couple of Immortals to be careful of. We'll see how it goes. Army supply is actually still pretty even, but SKillous is up 16 workers behind this still, and he's actually into the natural. Dealing damage once again with these Oracles. These Oracles find major damage. 10, 11 workers. And we're starting to kill an Immortal at the front too. Actually going to blink forward here to get rid of one. This battery was not ready yet. And SKillous just having a great time.
That was the second Immortal. KingCobra's first Immortal was not controlled and pulled back. So yeah, that was the first one that died. And then the second one was blinked on. So KingCobra definitely needs those Immortals. The problem is that as he rebuilds them, he'll be like, oh, I'll eventually have a counter to Stalkers. Well, SKillous will add on charge lots, and Immortals really won't cut it anymore. So, they're not cutting it now either.
That's enough Stalkers just to shoot through the super battery as well. GG's, and SKillous does not mess around. Again, just got very good damage done early, and the moment he started dealing that good damage, he put himself in a very good spot, and he just ran with it. So, very solid stuff from him, and SKillous just doing SKillous things, man, just looking good. He's definitely the favorite in this match. I think the most impressive part is just knowing how well knowing so well what his opponent's going to do. For me, KingCobra in the past, I guess, was that kind of like, oh god, what is he going to do play? But I guess now it's becoming so predictable to maybe a fault even, because yeah, SKillous was ready for pretty much every step of that game.
Yeah, and I think KingCobra, he will struggle against any of the really top tier Protoss who also have all of those little things that add up. The Adepts get in, the Oracle swoop in, the sacrificing the Oracles made sense, it wasn't a mistake, that type of stuff. But even if he faced someone who's not the top of Protoss, they can't quite get that damage done, they still usually know what to expect. They still have at least a solid foundation of four bases to his barely 3, and usually still win out, I would say. But SKillous he's really, he was a contender for top Protoss in Europe, even as far back as like 2 years ago, I would say, when we were still really figuring out what was happening with the COVID years. And I think in the last year, he's really, he's top 3, right? There's Max Packs, there's Showtime, and then question marks, but probably SKillous, right? So he's going to win even more convincingly against KingCobra, who I think he was already rather comfortable against.
Sorry, I was just double checking. They weren't waiting on us to ready up again. Yeah, no, I think SKillous is one of these players who's just, he's meant to win. He's solidified, and he's very comfortable, and it's good to see SKillous looking comfortable too, because I know he's talked about being nervous in these events, right? And especially the pressure, like building up to like one match on this one day, and it's drawn out over a couple of weeks, and that's very stressful. But so far, he's keeping his cool, looking good. We go to Dragon Skills for map 2. It's another map with a ramp, so we do have that possibility to talk about in terms of what might happen there. And we'll get ourselves into this for game 2. And we start off in the bottom right-hand side. Our red Protoss player, to begin this off, is up 1. Team Liquid player, SKillous.
The top left has the blue Protoss. He is KingCobra. Certainly king at what he does. Unfortunately, that doesn't necessarily... It's not the highest skill ceiling that Protoss can get in PvP. This is the best way I'll put it. So that's why it's troublesome against the non-best players in the world. It definitely is. but it has its skill cap, and it's lower than whatever else the other Protoss do. So their expansions, their all-ins, their Blink Stalker micro, so on and so forth. I will say that KingCobra did try to mix it up a little. He went into Disruptors, or tried to go into Disruptors last game, not just immediately up into a Fleet Beacon. So there are two choices that he gets up to, but specifically because SKillous now is at that level where he gets all that early game damage done, it seems like KingCobra is not going to get any surprises when it comes to a 3-base scenario. He's going to have to either play perfectly on the 2-base scenario, which he did not do last game, or I don't know, play more normally if we do go into 3 bases.
Yeah, which is not exactly easily done. Cybercore dropping down off the back of the single gate again. We do have our double gate from SKillous. Just a much more standard way of getting established. And just have probe, nibbling on probe early on in this game, man.
Yeah. Yeah, this time KingCobra doing the same thing. He's 1 gate expanding. Is just he does it. He doesn't really change it up on the initial build order. So that also, I think, means that he's not very threatening against every Protoss that you face in the top probably 50 of Europe, right? So there's a very big difference of top 20 and the rest of the guys there. But still, if Showtime faces the 30th best Protoss, he wins almost 100% of the time. But even he would have to respect the idea of like a proxy 3-gate robo, right? Or some type of early game cheese. Yeah. Against KingCobra, as soon as you see 1 gate expands, you're like, well, I know nothing's happening for this many minutes, so I'm okay. Double Zealot? What the heck?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely kind of unique. Maybe because he wanted... I wonder if at this he was just trying to, like, hey, look, I'm making units, I'm not saving my gas for this Stargate. But then he was like, Pylon. He's like, I'm going to finish it, and now I'm just going to put some pressure on, maybe? I don't really know. It was a guess, but could be very far off. Kind of wild. Double Zealot ain't usual.
No, it isn't. But it's kind of funny, right? Because KingCobra guaranteed has less units than you. You went 2 gates, he went 1. That is math. Zealots are so tanky that what could happen is KingCobra is having to dance around, right? Stalkers win against Zealots eventually, but not very quickly. He's dancing around. Boom, Oracle in the main. Yeah. And if he doesn't have a shield battery, then the Stalkers are definitely not going to be available. And he doesn't have a shield battery, so that could be worrisome.
Yeah, absolutely. These Zealots kind of run away, and now it's like, hey, Stalker, Sentry, you guys want to chase me? The Stalker's like, oh yeah, I really do want to go chase you. It's like a carrot on a stick. It's just going to be like, okay, I'm going, and then the Oracle arrives, and the battery is just now starting, and this is where a lot of probes die, and SKillous is going to put himself ahead early once again as this Oracle opens up brilliantly. Okay, there's a Phoenix on the way out, but 7 probes is already very serious. And we're going to get a couple more on the low ground. It seems the battery is going to go down here as the Zealots get the kill with the Stalker as well. We're going to actually get some more probes with the Zealots too.
Wow.
Double Zealot, new meta. Boom.
Yeah, right? The guys always do this. This is amazing. 12 probes killed, a 12 worker lead. That is amazing for SKillous, who will have to lose his Oracle by the looks of things, but it's not a big deal. And he might even be able to save it if he...
It's out of here. 2 Stalkers.
Stalkers are there? Nah, you can kill it.
He can kill it, but should he?
Can you, though?
Maybe not.
Oracle. Maybe not. Does that mean there's 2 Oracles now? Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's obviously awesome as well. More potential just threaten mineral lines once again in the future. This Oracle's still having to kind of stay out of trouble and is going to try and make its way across the map now, getting away from that Phoenix. There is going to be a couple Stalkers here just to be careful of, and SKillous does see it, so he's going to respect that and not let his Oracle just run into it, as we have this Oracle onto the Natural, which doesn't have a battery, by the way, so in we go again. And this is really bad for KingCobra, who at least has a battery in the main, but he turns back around and get that the Stalkers are here, but, I mean, you can still kill a lot of probes. It's just going to be GG. SKillous, looking masterful in this series, says, hey, I'm the favorite here.